Instagram and I saw you skipping. I'm like, who is this person? So tell me about yourself. Who's Marissa?
Thank you for having me. As you know, my name is Marissa, but I'm better known on social media as the rope runner, as in rope. And I run extensive distances with a skipping rope, as in running and skipping simultaneously.
Wow. Okay, let's start with your running story. How did you actually start just running before we get to the rope?
Okay, so I started running in really aggressively running in 2021. In and just after COVID, I had two toddlers at home and was in between jobs, and I was going crazy. And I thought to myself, you need to do something. You're going to have to get out. So I hit the road, and I think I started with my first 3 kilometers, and it was amazing. And it just kind of grew. And then we moved to another town, and I started taking up trail running as well. So I used to be a hybrid road and trail runner up until I rope running.
Wow, that's so interesting. So, I mean, obviously, I know rope is like skipping. So, I'm interested in the progression from skipping to running. How did that happen? That you're like, okay, both together. It just happened naturally.
So no, it kind of, but not really, because I was running so much, doing trail and road running, and I specifically that year, 2023, concentrated on a lot of trail running because I was doing fairly well in the trail running scene. But with all the training, I incurred an injury in my hip, and I had to take it easier, but I couldn't scale down on my fitness. And I heard that skipping, normal skipping in the gym is good for you and to keep you fit up, and it's good for overall workout, etc. So I went to the gym thinking, okay, today is the day I'm going to start skipping. And I did, but I'm such a creature of variety that it grew increasingly boring just to do the whole time. I thought to myself, wait, I like running. I do like the skipping thing. How about I combine the two and see if that's doable? And it turned out that I could do it pretty easily. And I started rope running in the studio, but it's so short. And I thought, no, I'm going to have to take this to a secluded road where no one can see me, because if someone sees me, they will definitely go crazy. And to be honest, I know that you can do such distances with rope running because it's intense form of exercise, especially if you do things going longer distances for hours and hours and hours. And it progressively increased through the months that I just increased distance, and it became rope running, and then everything exploded.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to take you a little bit back to your toddlers. So tell us about your toddlers. Are they still toddlers? 2023? Maybe not.
No. So now they are little small humans, 7 and 9 years old.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So obviously, mommy's got rope. What are the challenges when you're at home and you're trying to skip? Do they also have their little ropes with, or?
They try my ropes. I've got so many ropes, and often they would try their hand at just normal thing. But rope running, the lingo in our house is normal. Oh, there goes mom, just going out for a rope run. It's like normal.
Yeah.
And they love it. I don't really skip at home. If I do go out, it'll be on the road because it doesn't benefit me to really skip at home. And there are too many distractions. So I have to be focused. So I would either hit the road and go rope running, or I would take my rope to a gym and just do a cardio session, work on my arm endurance, etc., for the build up towards what's coming.
Okay, wow. Yeah, because I mean, I'm going to go into that. I'm going to stay a little bit with the mummy bit. How do you manage? So obviously, as mum runners, we know that our time is important. We're better mums when we're running. how do you manage your time to make sure you get that time in, but you've got Litly, so you still have to do lunch boxes, you still have to drive people to school and everything. So how do you manage that and getting your runs in?
Okay, so that's a good question. I'm fortunate enough to have my own business, so time for me is relative. I can gym in the middle of the day, providing I have done all the work that I need to. So that helps an incredible amount, which frees up my mornings and my evenings. Because if I were to sort out my kiddies, do lunch boxes, etc., I can kind of work around what works for them to not distract or take away from their time, you know. So, that helps an incredible amount. And I often think of moms that need to get up at sparrows to go for a run and sort out their kids and go to work and come back and all the things. I don't have that pressure, and I'm so glad that I don't have that pressure on me, because I don't know if that would be possible to do what I'm doing now and not neglect my duties as a mum, for my kids being there.
Okay, yeah. It's an interesting one because as moms, we're trying to do the kiddos and everything, but we still are people at the end of the day, and we also have things that we want to do. Okay, now let's get into rope running. I'm going to get very technical with you, Marissa.
By all
Which
means,
type
go for it.
of which type of rope do you use when you skip? Because I mean, I used to skip when I was a kid, so I know the rope, which is like when you go rock climbing, the actual like the one you use in
Yeah.
scouts when you're making tents. I'm even making the knots. And then there's the plastic one, and you can use maybe a wire one. I don't know. Which type of rope do you use?
Okay, it's right here. Here we go. I'll bring
Uh-huh.
closer to the video. Okay.
Yes.
This is called a speed rope. However, I have now learned to make my own ropes because I go through one of these probably every second or third day. A
Mm-hmm.
rope. I mean, literally, they didn't design ropes to go on tar, right? So it
Yeah.
chows through these ropes. It's basically a wire with a plastic sleeving around it, and the plastic
Mm-hmm.
sleeving wears when it hits the tar. And after 20 to 30 k's, the wire frays, and that starts
Mm-hmm.
hacking into my legs, and then I draw blood, and it's just blood everywhere. So I've learned
Mm,
throughout the month that I need to change my ropes. And the reason I have that is it's agile and it's quick and it's light. I have tried every rope under the sun: leather, plastic, normal skipping rope, weighted ropes, etc. They're either too flimsy or too heavy or too floppy, etc. These ropes are phenomenal because they're so agile. And for
mm-hmm.
rope running, endurance running, the best. And the handles are very light. But like I said, I've now designed my own ropes because the ones that you get aren't conducive for rope runners. The handles keep pulling back or the rope goes front and then you have to reset. It's a whole technical thing that I've now figured out, that you need a proper rope to stay in position, that you can just concentrate on swinging the rope as opposed to adjusting consistently this rope, which
Yes.
most of the ropes do. And like I say, I go through them so often, especially when I train hard. So when I do endurance run like a marathon or ultra marathon, I run a pack, and in the backpack I would have spares, and I would just change it as and when I need it.
Okay, yeah, because that was my next question was, do you have them in your bag or does somebody hand them to you? Wow, that's so interesting. So you basically almost came up with something to make sure that you were able to do the running. Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so you said you did a little bit of trail running. Which races did you run when you did some trail? Do you miss it?
I do, and I can't run trail now because I can't afford an injury. And the last time I ran trail, just before the whole rope running thing kicked off, I nearly snapped an ankle. And I thought to myself, if I get an injury now, I'm out for this year in terms of rope running. So I had to step back from trail running. And it'll come again. The rope running would be maybe a season, and then I combine it because it won't be so focused on rope running. It's because of the goals that I need to set my mind on that now. But yes, I'll get back into it, but I do miss it. I ran numerous titles, none no international trail runs yet. I had really started picking up in trail running in 2023, 2022,
Mm-hmm.
2023.
Mm-hmm.
And 2023, I podiumed at a really nice race that helped me with a bit of exposure, etc. Did some big races in South Africa, which was
Mm-hmm.
lovely. But
Which
just
ones? Sorry.
no,
Which?
so the one race that I won was Ultra Trail Drakensberg, and that was in 2023, and
Oh.
it was a 2-kilometer run. So
Uh-huh.
I I won that one, surprising to myself, but it was a really great day.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
a
was
biggie. That's a biggie.
it was a lovely one. And then invited to come and do Ultra Trail Cape Town, which was at the end
Mm-hmm.
of that year.
Mm-hmm.
And after Ultra Trail Cape Town, I started getting a hip niggle, and that's when I started the whole training with a rope, and the whole rope running journey started. So it really effectively started in January 2024. And in that time, I had to manage my hip as well. I was still running Comrades that year. I did my rope running secret because I honestly didn't know where it was going to go, but I knew that it was great for fitness and that if I keep doing this, who knows? And that kind of slowly progressed in parallel with normal running, trail running, and getting over the hip injury, finishing Comrades that year. And it organically spilled into, okay, Comrades is done now.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get on to rope running. And then that's when I made it public and it exploded. And
That's
yeah, today, this is where I'm now.
that's so exciting. So yes, Ultra Trail Cape Town is actually very technical. And we were talking about how the trail itself is so technical that, and those technicalities, that's what causes the injuries. You know what I mean? Especially if you're going at a very
Yeah,
high speed and all the things. It's just madness. It's
yes,
madness. It's madness.
yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay.
I
So
I love
go ahead.
technical running.
Mm-hmm.
I love technical running, but I especially love technical downhill runs.
Oh my
So I
God.
pull it down, um, downhill, and I mean, it causes a lot of strain on everything in your body, and you just basically tense up and go with momentum, which I love. But yes, with that, I think I may have incurred a few unwanted niggles, and in that, I had to step back.
I was when you said you got injured trail, I was like, I wonder if she's one of those people who just barrels down the mountains. That's what I thought. And I'm thinking,
Indeed.
like 3 weeks ago, I went to Kobe. There's this race called the Golden Trail Series. And these
Yes.
guys, I mean, Japanese trails are crazy, crazy.
I can
They
imagine. Yes.
run at full speed. I'm like, no
Amazing.
fear. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's so
I love it.
scary.
No, yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Once you get over that fear of, oh, sheesh, I fall, I may hurt myself, and you just go by momentum, it actually
Yeah.
is exhilarating and quite freeing. Well, for me, each to their own, but for me, it's an exhilarating adrenaline rush, which I just love.
Admire Muzopamboa says the secret is don't think about it, just go. He says the minute you
Yeah,
hesitate and think about it, that's where problems begin. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about, obviously you just ran 2 oceans, which is a big distance, right? Like that's 56 on rope.
Yeah,
So what sort of
yeah.
training are you doing? Because you are using pretty much your whole body. Okay, I mean we run with our whole body even though we don't think we do. Our core plays a part, our arms play a part. But you are skipping, which means you obviously have to have like serious upper body strength as well. What sort of training do you do to make sure that your arms are ship shape?
Um, that's a good question. So, to be fair, like I said, the whole rope running journey kind of organically happened. And the
Mm-hmm.
more I did it, the fitter I became. And it's like my body grew accustomed to this whole new style of running because the style of my running changes dramatically towards the normal running with arms and whatnot. Arms is such a luxury. I tell you, like, hey, what's these things? Next to me.
Yeah.
So in that, I run quite straight up, and my knees are quite high. So a lot of strain goes onto my top part of my back and my shoulders. Not really my forearms or wrists, because I get asked that a lot. Yeah, but mostly back and shoulders, and then my calf muscles take a hit because I run on my toes, and toes in general, they probably take the biggest beating because it's consistently on the edge of my feet. But in terms of training and prepping for ultra marathons, because no one has done it, no one can tell me what to do. So I'm kind of inventing these sessions and what I need to do. And in my mind, I just used logic to think, Marissa, if you were to train for an ultra marathon as a rookie, you just do what you need to do. You put in the hours, you do strength training. So I do a lot of strength training in the gym with weights, etc., just to build endurance into my muscles as well, including some long distance runs, etc. All of this as I would normally do it, but adding a skipping rope. So mine is just, I concentrate on a lot of upper body work as well.
Okay. Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, because I can imagine, because your posture, like, you have to be like, it's not like, when you get tired and then you're just like, you actually can't afford to do that.
No, unfortunately not. So it takes out of you. And Two Oceans was a big one. This year is set out for 3 major challenges, and I've done the marathon. I've done Two Oceans, which is the first ultra marathon, and now I'm doing Comrades Marathon, which, as you know, in South Africa is the ultimate human race on the road, and that is a beast, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm nervous.
Wow, that's actually so exciting. But okay, so you've already gone into Comrades, you're going to run Comrades, but let's talk about the issue that you are advocating for, which is human trafficking, right? So the thing with human trafficking, I feel like, is something that is insidious. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, in the sense that um, I've listened to some podcasts, and there's this organization that frees people who are trafficked. It's called I forget the name, but it's something that is happening all around us, but it's very hidden in plain sight. And I know, like, in Japan, it's a big problem because girls from the Philippines are trafficked into Japan because life in the Philippines is very hard. So when you describe human trafficking, how would you describe it to the audience, since you are doing the work, you are in the field doing the actual work?
Correct. So yeah, just going back, the reason why this road running is so close to my heart, and it's such a wonderful platform, because for what I'm doing in terms of rope running is so unique and no one has done it, and I am a bit crazy, people would think, and that in itself creates a platform to draw attention to the things that really matter, which is, let us try to protect lives by shedding light, fighting against human trafficking. So when I had a decision, an option to align with an organization, this was close to my heart because I was exposed to it a few years back with my parents, and specifically my mum, working with trafficked women in Asia and restoring them back to their families, restoring dignity to their lives, and basically giving them a second chance. And that opened my eyes to see how rife the underbelly of human trafficking is, and how people know about it, but they're not aware of it. And it is a relevant subject throughout. It doesn't discriminate. There's no barrier of entry to it. It affects absolutely everyone. And South Africa specifically is the biggest human trafficker in the world. And again, people just don't know it.
I did
They
not
don't
know
care.
that.
So that was close to my heart. So again, when I was faced with a choice partner with an organization. This was the one that I thought was most prevalent. And also, it's not just a local issue, it's a global pandemic. So the awareness that I'm trying to create is not just national, but international. And with me rope running, all of them, I feel like it's stepping stones towards global awareness. And who knows where this may go. But I'm going to give my all to make sure that I use this platform in order to create awareness and to lives as far as I can. The organization that I've partnered with, Love Justice International, and they are in about 20 countries in the world, and they intercept victims before they get trafficked. So they call it transit monitoring, and they basically save or protect the lives before harm gets to them. Have scouts on the ground at the right places where they know what to look for, the signs, etc. And by doing that, they protect people from being trafficked and then restore them back to their families. And that was very close to me.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things about trafficking is also that sometimes it's someone somebody knows. Do you know what I mean? Who is involved in the ring. Sometimes it's a boyfriend, you know, like, and then you end up being trafficked. But if you had to tell people, of course, you're not an expert trafficker person, you're a person who is supporting the cause. But from your platform, what 1 or 2 tips can you give to the women, and because also boys get trafficked as well? What little tips would you give for people to just watch out so they can be aware of this problem?
Good question. Again, though, you know, we think traffic, and yes, it's maybe heavily based on children being trafficked, but it doesn't discriminate. It's from age 0 to 35. It doesn't discriminate. What I would recommend parents do is be vigilant when you go out with your children. You need to make sure that you let them, because they do not know. The amount of times that I've heard of stories where there are strangers luring children just a little bit of their parents with cash or sweets or what have you. Call them here and ask them, come, let me show you, or would you like a sweetie? Whatever the case might be. Those kind of things are telltale signs. Eye on your kids if this is your focus in shopping malls, on the beaches. Don't let your children go to the bathrooms on their own, public bathrooms. Small things like that. Even if you think it may seem fine, rather not take a chance, is what I would say. But what I want to encourage people as well, the older generation, and this is happening more often now, it's picking up tremendously, is teenagers and young adults from like 15 to 25 being trafficked greatly, because organizations know that this is a vulnerable market. These types of children, because they are children, are now coming out of school looking for jobs. Job scarcity is a big thing. So you've got these organizations posing as recruitment centers, etc. And because they put urgency on the jobs, they tell these guys, come, you have to give me an answer, pay the things, we're going to sort out everything, get there and we'll sort out the rest, without vetting the company correctly, without putting in their due diligence, and then people get missing. And it's happening more now than ever before. That, and model agencies being asked or approached by people saying, oh, you've got great talent. You have to make sure that the companies that are scouting are legit, and there's a track record of everything for work opportunities, modeling opportunities, anything like that, because those people are now being trafficked and targeted rightly because of the scarcity.
That's true, because of that. And also everyone's on their phone, so sometimes parents don't even know what's going on. You have no idea what is going on.
Present.
Yeah. Yeah, parents definitely have to be present. Okay, so Marissa, so we've talked about human trafficking. How can we help you as an audience? I mean, people listen, they're like, I want to help. What can they do in
Thank you.
in a real tangible way?
I am quite active on all the social media platforms,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how you operate in Japan in terms of social media, but the main ones like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, those kind of things is where I am mostly active, and all my links to donate towards the funds that I'm raising this year will reflect on there. I've
Okay.
set out an amount of 500,000 Rand, which equates to
Mm-hmm.
about 28,000 US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And that will save or protect roughly 200 lives. So it's not a lot, but that is a big amount for a South African organization or charity. And if anybody felt on their heart held to protect a life on their behalf, I'm merely the front runner. I tell people that this is not you giving money and you don't know where it's going. You are helping to protect a life, and you don't know whose life you're going to protect. So you in itself, you are a hero doing this. And if you want to do that and take arms with me, then go onto my Back a Buddy account. Please donate whatever amount feels comfortable and helps solve the problem, or at least fight against the darkness of human trafficking.
Okay, it's a good cause, and 200 lives is a lot because those 200 become mummies, and you save their kids and their families. So 200 is a big number. So, what
Yeah.
are your handles on Instagram? We have all the things here in Japan. So, what are your
Thank
handles?
you.
Where can we find you on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok?
So I'm going to show you my cap. I'm known
Mm-hmm.
as the rope runner, as you can see
Mm-hmm.
there.
Oh,
So
that's
you
so
can look for
nice. I
this.
love that design.
Thank you. It's my little cheeky pony right there.
Uh,
um, yeah, the rope runner. On Facebook, it's the rope runner Marissa.
mm-hmm.
And I think on TikTok, it's rope running.
Mm-hmm.
But you can search the rope run, and I'm sure it's going to come up. But this is the major handle to look for, and it should reflect there. I think I am the only one on social media doing what I'm doing in any case, so it shouldn't be too hard.
Okay, no problem. I mean, I will include it in the show notes when we are done. Okay, so what is planned for the rest of the year, comrades, and what else?
So, comrades, yes, that's coming up in just over 2 weeks.
Oh
So
my
ramping up for
God,
that now.
it's so
I know,
close.
I know. I mean, believe me, I know. And then I would very much like to, my heart would be to start participating in the world majors, London Marathon, Tokyo, Boston, New York, Sydney, you name all the majors, and possibly just doing another marathon towards the end of the year in South Africa. Even Cape Town Marathon is coming up. I will
Mm-hmm.
do some trail marathons because I can take it easier after Comrades. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
go back to do UTCT,
Mm-hmm.
and then from next year I'll start ramping up again, aiming and planning towards starting some of the world majors. But we'll see what happens after Comrades. The reason why I want to take on the world majors is again because I would be the only one to do, which is wonderful. And I think
Mm-hmm.
after Comrades, I would be able to showcase a Guinness World Record for that, or even
Mm-hmm.
if they don't acknowledge it, a world record, because this is a world record at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the back of that, create global awareness by doing the world majors and shedding light globally on human trafficking because it is a global pandemic.
It is a global pandemic. That is true. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. We did good work. Let's
Oh,
go
you're
to
welcome.
the fun questions, Marissa. So, what is a crazy thing? Okay, rope running is pretty crazy, but what is a crazy thing that you as a runner have seen or done or seen other runners doing that you're like, only runners?
Um, so I don't know if it's a thing, but it's definitely a runner thing. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen a lot of crazy things, apart from a guy running with a pineapple on his head, or a guy juggling, or a guy running backwards. So there's a couple of us out there.
I know the
But then,
backwards guy. Yeah.
The thing that runners do consistently, trail running and road running, is there's just very limited, I would call it bathroom etiquette. Like people snort and fart. I mean, you just go for it, and no one even blinks an eye, because this is so normal within the running community. And I'm always like, guys, come on, we are still human. You know,
This
just,
is this is the one that comes up, and it's universal, by the way. It's universal. It happens everywhere. Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm not right. I always have like a tissue with me. I will, go somewhere secluded. I'll mind my own business. But it's become such a normal thing that actually I used to frown, but now I'm like, oh, okay, well, no one's blinking an eyelid, so this is obviously normal. Let's just carry on and pretend like we're having a conversation over. So that's probably the crazy thing, and so such a normal thing within the running community.
It really is. I mean, at the start of a trail race, the race starts, everyone's going into the bushes. Like, what the hell, guys? And it's the guys usually. They're out there. And then what about a book recommendation? It can be running related or any book.
So that's a really great question. It's a book that I haven't read yet, but I've done some research on it, and just the overview. I would very much recommend, and specifically personally for me and the journey that I'm on, is, I'm sure you're familiar with Ryan Sands.
Mm-hmm.
Such a wonderful athlete. And he wrote a book called Trailblazers, but on the back of that, there's his new book, Run, Risk, Reward. And that focuses a little bit more on his journey, being an ultra endurance trail runner. And I would say the psyche behind the digging deep of an ultra trail runner, an endurance athlete, where I find myself currently. So I can very much relate. And he's just finished the Cocodona phenomenal run in, I think it's Arizona.
Yeah.
And reflection upon how it's taken him through different areas in his mindset and physically where he's never been. And I'm sure there's a book at the back of that. But this new book that he wrote kind of also talks about all these deep, dark places that he had to go through, balancing family life, balancing training, going to all these challenges, entering pain caves that he didn't know of, etc., and how he got that. So that for me is an encouragement at that stage, because I feel like I'm going to need all the grit and advice from people who had done crazy things for what I'm taking on. So yes, it's called Run, Risk, Reward from Ryan Sands.
That's a good recommendation, actually. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know he had a second book. Okay. And then what about a TV series or a movie or even a YouTube channel?
Okay, so I've got, if you haven't watched this, I would highly recommend it. It's a true story. It's a movie. It's called Sound of Freedom, and it gives you a little insight into the dark trenches and underbelly of human trafficking, and this based on a true story, and it just grips your heart. I mean, it's a tough watch, but if you want to know what really is going on and how bad this is, watch that, Sound of Freedom. And that is why I fight the fight.
Okay.
People know what's going on.
That's a good one. I haven't watched it, actually. That's a good one.
Yeah. It's really good. And in terms of YouTube channels, there's a really great influencer that's to do with fitness and mindset, and if you were to invest in just becoming a better version of you physically, etc., and then it flows into mentally. It's called Jump Rope Dudes, and the guy's called Dan, and he gives all these advice and videos on how to start with skipping. If people were to try their hand at skipping rope running, I would imagine this is where you and what an amazing guy. And so many tips and wonderful advice that he gives that is not insurmountable for the beginner type person that wants to start with a fitness or just a health journey. Really good YouTube channels that he has as well.
Okay. I like this because you know what happens is when you're in your circle and you're living your life, you kind of watch the same thing, and the people around you
Yeah.
watch the same thing, and that's all you watch, and you never see what
Yeah.
else is out there. So when we hear different
Yes.
recommendations from different people, it's like, wow, okay, maybe there's something there. You know what I mean? And you can see
I
a
don't know.
different part. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing, Marissa.
Oh, yeah, no worries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's us. We're done. We did it super fast.
Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you so much for having me on here. It's always a privilege to be on any show or talk show or podcast or interview because I get to tell my story and I get to raise awareness and I get to speak into people's hearts to tell them what's going on and the truth and to come on board and, start your own journey and change lives on your own account for what is in your hands to do. So this for me is a great opportunity. Thank you so much.
No problem. And how's the weather? Are you in Joburg? Let me stop recording. How's the weather? Are you in Joburg or